So yeah, that was Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you all here at Jefferson. And who's joining me this evening is Kara Banfield Vermeer and Krissa Oots. And we just have a short presentation remind you about Moline's Littlest Learners here at Jefferson. In 1986, the state of Illinois, which has been known to be progressive in early childhood education, went to bat with ISD and funded the first childhood doctor. Moline Valley School District was one of the first districts in the state to receive this highly competitive. And with that history, we continue to grow and change for Moline's Littlest Learners here at Jefferson. This evening, I'd like you to take a moment and I'd like you to see this experience. I was fun, and my experience was that right? It was kind of work. Then I said my earliest memories are making podcasts or doing work. I hope you probably thinking about something that you did. Now I want you to think about anything. We are young children in the shepherd, there is what is doing to find information. The progress as it's trade. However, and the engagement that that's what Mrs. Vermeer and Mrs.
Thank you, Mrs. Fowler. Yes, so when children come to us at 3.5 or 4 years old, they come from a home setting, loving family, and so they come with a whole unique set of skills and cultural norms and all kinds of gifts that they have learned in their home. And so when they come to school, we view those families as their first teachers. And we are very grateful for what they've been working on with their children. And we would like to bridge that connection from home to school. So we recognize those unique qualities of each, and it's our task to build relationships with each student and his or her family. In addition, the teacher's role is to bridge that connection again between school. How do we do that? So we have something with teaching strategies called 6 weeks study. And the core domains of a child's development is very important. It's paramount to our understanding of what these children already have in place as far as skills, and also where they're coming from. How do they manage their emotions? Do they need extra help or repetition to understand a task? Do they speak or three languages in the home? So they're coming to us with a different home language. And so how do we bridge that into the school setting, setting up those routines and rules and helping them to get along with their peers, for example, helping them to follow instructions and those kinds of things that lead to success. So the first domain that we look at is the social emotional domain. And we feel like that is definitely the foundation of learning. So again, we're looking at the emotions, following limits and expectations, those interactions, and then balancing the strengths of themselves as well as other students. The second domain that we look at is the cognitive domain. Examples of that would include how they are able to pay attention during the schooling time. Are they staying engaged with an activity like a game, Candyland game, for example, or a Simon Says game? We're looking at those kinds of things when they first come in. And then are they able to recognize and recall information? If we have a tray with some common items from home and we take one away, can they tell us which one is missing, for example? And then also, are they able to classify? That could be a simple sorting game. Let's sort some socks. Might be a task that they've done at home. You know, do we sort them by color, shape, size, those kinds of things? And so we're looking at those skills and seeing how we can facilitate the learning based on what they already know, those strengths. We always work on those strengths. We also are looking at their language skills. I mentioned before their home language, which is an important foundation for them to learning English, but also those English speaking children. This is the chance for them to learn some academic language and to learn how to sing songs and engage in fun games where they get to express themselves. And so we're looking at how they can comprehend language, following directions, for example, and they engage in conversations. Those kinds of skills are things that they're going to need to know for kindergarten as well as the rest of their lives, actually. It's very important. And the last domain is the physical domain. We can't leave that out. We do observation of them traveling and balancing and riding the trike, bouncing up and down. You know, the fine motor skills are as important as well with using their hands and fingers, writing tools, and that kind of thing. So using that curriculum as a guide, the teacher is going to facilitate the learning of these skills through play. Those play activities that are carefully planned out according to the children's interests. We also find out a little bit about their personalities. What do they like? Do they like cars? Do they like dolls? Do they like, you know, rocket ships? What do they like? And so we try to incorporate those interests into what we're doing on a daily basis. And again, building on those strengths and those key domains. As the children change and grow in the group setting, they become more independent in their learning and require less teacher reminders and support. But this is a plus. And they can even help their peers. Have some new students that just started this week, and the children that have been here for 9 weeks are helping. I will help you zip your coat. I will help you find the bathroom. I will help you to do the puzzle. So it's a wonderful way for us to have the children help each other and to gain that self-confidence. And then ultimately, this goal provides, proves to be paramount in preparing the children for kindergarten and future learning opportunities. At Jefferson, play is the vehicle by which the children practice these foundational skills and our teachers facilitate the learning. I have a quick example, and I changed his name for privacy. But there is a child named Sammy, who's a 4-year-old who came to us in August. His family spoke 2 different languages, English being one of them and another home language. At the beginning of the year, Sammy had a very short attention span. He was needing some redirection quite a few times to follow routines and directions. And he would drop to the floor when he was refusing tasks. Sammy even ran away from teaching. So we had to come up with a strategy. So our strategy was we used visuals. Those visuals helped reinforce those directions, gave him something to focus on, and with that language connection, we were trying to bridge that connection there for understanding. A few signs, even use some sign language to help Sammy communicate his needs. For example, help please, work please, stop, bathroom, and that kind of thing. We also gave him his own visual schedule so he could anticipate what the next activity was, and that reduced a lot of his anxiety that I think he was experiencing because it was a new experience, environment, and everything was new. So that is a lot for a little guy. We found he had a preferred task. He loved to draw. So we used this skill as a reward for following directions. And we built on those skills with his drawing and his building to find out what are, the colors, those kinds of skills that we were trying to glean from the boy. After the 6 weeks, he independently came into the classroom, completed all arrival activities. He took care of his own needs, started to use English to express his, and he has even now started helping others, including those new students, get their backpack and get their jacket. And he says, here, every time he passes the jacket. So I consider him to be one of many of our that has really grown and changed even in the first 9 weeks. We're looking forward to see what happens in the rest of the year. And I just want to end with a quick quote from Mr. Fred Rogers. Play is often talked about as if it were a relief from serious learning, but for children, play is learning. Play is really the work of child. And so after the 6 weeks, we build on those foundational skills. We know some interests of the children, and it leads into our studies and our projects. And that's what Mrs. Utz is going to share now with you.
A project is an extended in-depth investigation where the teacher or the children play more of a leadership role. And having laid those foundational skills that Karen talked about, we build on those skills all year long, and they practice. They have those repeated experiences. And by the end of the year, they're able to pretty much lead a project on their own. And so this slide here, we talked about the town of Moline because we found out that a lot of the children really don't know what's out there in our town. So we talked about the town of Moline, brainstormed, we made a web, and then our project moved into them creating their own preschool town. We researched some stores, restaurants, parks, different places to go, different things to do, the river, the bridge. And then we brainstormed what they wanted for their preschool town. We explored a lot of those different areas in the Dramatic Play Center. So here in first picture, for our preschool town, those are the greeters and the photographers. Those are child-friendly cameras. They were in charge of taking pictures of the other classes who came in were the customers. And my students were the ones who led the little shops and stores. And then they're passing out a menu of what's available. And then the third picture is the little boy at the bank. So they have to be greeted, and then they come and they get their money at the bank because they need money in order to buy what they want. And then the next picture is a bakery. This little girl is asking the customer what kind of cookie she wants. And then we've got the flower shop in the bottom left. Those are real flowers, so they could choose what flower they wanted. And then we've got the clothing store, which they just paid money to try dress up clothes on. Look in the mirror and get their picture taken. Then we've got a toy store in the bottom corner, and then a gift shop in the middle there. The kids made all of the items for the gift shop, so customers could choose what they wanted. And then in the bottom corner is the music store. So the boys and girls made shakers. So everything was pretty much made by them, or a few things like flowers were real. So there were a lot of skills that they were a lot of those skills that Kara talked about in Preschool Town, all those things that were laid at the beginning of the year, we practiced throughout with repeated experiences. They were able to run their own Preschool Town. We invited the rest of the building, and it was a fun day. Thank you.
So in closing, you can see, look around, look at our smart board. Don't see a lot of technology. Principals and suppliers, opportunities to engage with each other, opportunities. Don't believe that human contact is a blessing. And it says this is Susan's project. That's just one of several that the teachers do. They do music study. They have pet shop. We've done veterinarian shop. But we're young children are taking charge. Not only are we preparing them for kindergarten, but we're preparing them for Good question. Yes, please.
Current enrollment in the
Our current enrollment, so that's a great question. Our current enrollment is right at, we're having students are right at 150. Majority of those are. What we've done is we chose to go to extended day. And the reason why we chose to go to extended day was that we had approximately 50%, 50 to 20% of the using the slots. And so those families, the majority of them were 40. So that was 1 year before kindergarten and refusing to come. So to meet that need, they're programming to it. Now, what that happened was it created a huge difference. And a majority of those are 3-year-olds. So what we've done is, like the lady said, we just invited the highest need 4-year-olds and we still have a field. We're going back and we're going to the next round and we invite our kids. Because they have it. So understanding this problem, we're being creative in our thinking. And Angie, what can we do with the funding we have? Talk about the early childhood block grant. One of the grants that we has never invested in because regional office has always had to prevent it. It's a very small grant. And maybe a part of the money that we could apply for without moving that we could do something with those children. Because the other piece of it is that we did when we talk about the city. And it's empowering them to feel that they can be their child's first teacher. That's a change in with the generation. And so if we can empower them and do something where we have a play group, where we use such on-block thinking, that can help us serve those children.
Do we know, anybody in the administration from the district know what percent or how many children are not getting any sort of intervention, whether it be from, Jefferson or another
or Head Start or I can't tell you that number, but I know that children that prior to us going Obey, the Lincoln Valley School District for the Quad City area was not considered an early childhood district. And what does that mean to you? When we're looking for funding, we wrote for expansion, not last year, but the year before, did not receive those points because the children were getting their needs. When we went to extended day, that made us a desert. So Head Start was able to pick up some more spots at Florida. Our bilingual Spanish population has gone down, which is fine because somebody else they're getting their needs met. The point to your question is the majority of children are getting their into preschool, but it's the children that don't go to preschool before kindergarten to figure out why is that. Do families not know about preschool opportunities, not just at Jefferson, but you have Head Start, you have the Skip Along, you have community-based organizations. And with the Skip Along program, they are in home daycares, so there's lots of opportunity. But what is it that families are not feeling comfortable about sending their child to school? And that's the question. Yeah. So, and it's helping them to feel comfortable to come, and then meeting them where they're at. And so, back to my other point, if we could do something where families start building a relationship, we feel like Jefferson is a welcome wagon to the multiple public school district, because we're the first time that parents are back to school in a lot of cases for millennials. And so if we can just bridge some of those gaps to help them to feel like the school is a resource, that we're here to help them, not enable them, but to help them with their parents.
My youngest came through.
Yeah.
He's I think, great example.
Yes.
He came in. Angry. It's tough. And in 1 year, kind of taking some leadership stuff, and now it's a lot of this. One of the things that parents don't know about, I think that's amazing about this program is that we can speak to OT, speech therapy, the access that parents have, not just for the kid in the classroom, but outside of that classroom. There's so much here. Parents don't know this stuff. To some of the things that they've offered, not just the classroom.
Sure, and that's a good point, because and not to, as you brought up again, I would say, started out in the most restrictive environment that we had in our program. I think the least restrictive environment, generally. So what Jason's talking about is when you one action that we haven't spoken to is early intervention, and that's programming 0 to 3. Those children naturally transition to a school setting. Parents have that as an option. When they transition, we look at early intervention, they're looking at a family. They look at how things impact you as a family. When they come to school, we're looking at how does it impact you just. In response to what Jason's talking about, we have the resources of occupational therapy, physical therapy. Now we have vision itinerant, what y'all done with our special education, have all those resources. You're not necessarily going to get those direct services unless it's impacting education. But on the same side, because you've expanded the occupational therapists that we have in our district, we are so blessed to have Dr. Amy Price. And what she's doing with that extra time, going around into our classrooms. And she is seeing what are we doing with your kids for their fine motor skills. But what she's doing is she's building our teachers' wheelhouse. So they know what to do. So they're expanding, we're duplicating Amy 7 times. So we have those resources within our school because you've given us that opportunity to have those extra support systems. And that's why we can help children. Because, and this is just a statistic, it's for you to know. I can tell you that 75% of our kids are going to score the standardized score, the suicidal screening, with delays in speech and language and fine motor skills. And I can tell you, I want you to think about this. This is why I had you think a minute. Speech and language is because they're not watching people talk, they're listening to the screen. And fine motor skills are goodness. Doing this with Play-Doh, or even just, for toys. So we're giving them those opportunities. Is there anything else that you want to say? Any questions? Thank you guys so much, and thank you for coming to Jefferson.
Thank you. So this is the presentation of the tax levy. This is a formality that we have to do every year for every year that we present the tax levy and turn it into the county in December. So the first, just our quick agenda, we have the calendar, our timeline. Then we'll talk a little bit about the tax levy, why it's important, some levy basics, some data, facts, and assumptions, and then what our proposed local revenue will be for the 24 tax levy. So November 12th, tonight, we'll do the presentation. On December 9th, we will have the truth and taxation hearing and board adoption. Then on December 17th, we will file this with the county. Normally it's the last Tuesday of the month, but they're closed on the 24th in observance for Christmas Eve. And then in the spring, the county will extend the levy, and then the summer we will begin the collections. So just a quick overview. Our local revenue is about 70% of our revenue. State revenue is about 20%, and federal revenue is about 10%. So this is going back to the norm of how it's been, but with ESSER dollars in the previous couple of years, that has been skewed a little bit, and local revenue was around 65 to 67%, and federal revenue was up to around 13 to 15%. So this is just a breakdown of our local revenue. Almost 40% is going to be our local taxes. You have other local funding, which is like CPPRT money. Then you have the evidence-based funding for your state dollars. And then federal funding is going to be all your title dollars, your IDEA grant, your National School Lunch Program, and then of course your ESSER dollars. So this is our collection cycle. This is the most recent cycle that we have all the data from. So as you can see here in May of 23, there's a small distribution, but the large ones come in June, August, September, and November. So what is, a levy? This is the dollar amount the district needs next year from the property taxes. So this is our ask to the county. It's the maximum dollar amount that we can receive. And this amount is based on the estimated equalized assessed value and our tax rates. So what are our tax rates? For the Ed Fund, our maximum rate is $3.27. So what does that mean? That $3.20 is every $100 of EAV that we bring in, we get $3.27 of that through our education fund. Same thing with operation and maintenance. That's going to be 75 cents. Then you have special education, which is 4 cents. And then the last three there are each going to be a nickel. So funds that don't have the statutory maximum rates, this is going to be our tort fund, our Social Security, IMRF, which is our retirement fund for the non-certified staff. And then you're going to have your bonds and interest. So bonds and interest, when we sell bonds, that's why we say quasi-known. The county gets all of that information. So they are the ones that are going to be setting that rate for us. And then this is just a breakdown of what our EAV has been in previous years. So as you can see in 22 and 23, we've seen a large uptick in that EAV. And we're going to continue to see that in 24. So this is the detailed estimate that I received from Rock Island County. So it's going up 7.89%. And this is the distribution between residential, commercial, industrial, and then other, which is pretty much farm and rail. This is a 20-year running timeline of what our EAV has done. So basically from 2004 to 2021, it's gone up slow and steady growth. But once 22 hit, it started really ramping up, and we're seeing that across the state. That's really due to home prices just increasing exponentially over the last few years. So our history of EAV on a percentage basis, as you can see here, it fluctuated a little bit back in 2002 to 2008, but there hasn't been much until 2022 where it raised by 8.4%, and the majority of that 8.4% was a TIF that had fallen off. But these next 2 years are really going to be our EAV increase that the county is assessing all of these properties at. So our TIF history, there's where that major drop off is. So your TIF and your EAV are going to have an inverse relationship. So what a TIF basically is you'll have a section of property that basically isn't attainable for us on the levy. So for instance, right now, the amount of TIF in our in Rock Island County is $38 million. So out of that 1.1 billion that we have, we're not able to tax 38 million. So that's why that gets brought out of that $1.8 million number, but just for informational purposes. And then data, facts, and assumptions. So property tax hearing must be held if the levy is 105% more than the prior year extension. So as you can see here, our prior year extension was that 48 million, and our new ask is 52 million, and that is solely based on the EAV increase. So we are not increasing our tax levy rate. This is solely due to the Rock Island Assessor's Office increasing all of that property value. So this was our 2023 breakdown. As you can see, our equalized assessed value up there at the top was the 1,037 million. And then you have all your tax rates for the $100 in EAV, which extends out to all of these amounts on the right. And then, so this year, what I am assuming that we will be getting is the 1.123 million. And the reason why that's higher than that 1,118 million is that I wanted to put in a little bit of a buffer if that estimate is low. So I increased that by $5 million, and these are the rates and the extension or the projected extension that we would be looking at. So this is just the calculation and the rate changes and the change in dollar amounts per those rate changes. So as you can see here, the educational rate didn't change at all, but we're projected to receive an extra $2.8 million. That's solely based on that EAV increase, that property tax value increase. So history of the tax rate, it's been pretty flat over the last 20 years. With the highest being around $5.15 and the lowest being about $4.96. So what are the ramifications of a homeowner who sees an 8.37% increase to their property value? So if you had a $100,000 home the EAV of your home, so your equalized assessed value increased by 8.37%. You're going to see a $139 increase to your taxes for the year. The district did not do anything, didn't change your rate at all, but the county assessed your property at a higher value. So per school code, we need to show this in our presentation. Our beginning fund balance in each fund, the expected revenues and expenditures for each fund, and then the expenditures over, under, and then our ending fund balance. So in summary, we're assuming an EAV increase of 8.37%. We assume a tax rate of 4.9855. In 2023, the tax rate was the same, 4.9855. And then this is going to potentially generate $56,035,381. In 2023, it was $51,707,860. Property taxes are increasing, but rates are staying level. So what are the next steps and why? So a truth in taxation hearing notice is required due to the levy being more than 105% increase from the prior year. And that's excluding your bonds and interest. And the reason why we're doing this is because the district wants to maximize the levy to capture all of the increase to the equalized assessed value of the properties within the district. So any questions on anything that I've done? Well, thank you very much. I know everybody was, very attentive.
Yeah, we'll make it early, expansion project, update, and review.
You want me to just keep it?
You keep it. We wanted
Yeah, I love, the finance stuff always engages people. Don't you guys love it?
Yeah, preschool and the tax levy.
Hey, what makes the world go round? So
We wanted to just take a moment and make sure that the Board of Education has the opportunity to receive frequent updates regarding the Lincoln Irving extension project. I feel like we talk about it all the time and read about it multiple times a week, but we have that realization that not everybody's engaging in this conversation all the time. We want to make sure that we're over communicating the timeline and steps so people feel informed and know what's coming next. We have done a lot of communication out to stakeholders lately, and so I thought this would be a good time to revisit our timeline. So I'll turn it over to Vince.
yeah, so in prior fiscal year, we started off with the Board of Education approving the expansion of Lincoln Irving Village Retirement in March of 23. And then we put together a core team to project programming and meetings with Leggett. So those meetings took place on December 7th of 23, January 11th of 24, January 26th of 24, and February 8th of 24. So that was really meeting with the administration, with Leggett, coming up with what do we all want. Then we started going out to building tours. Really wanted to get a feel for, what are people doing now in today's environment? How has it changed from the Hamilton project? What are some of the things that we didn't like about Hamilton that we like about these two projects? Those took place in February 22, February 24, and then March of 1. And then that 14 met with Leggett on a conceptual design and tested plan. So we wanted to make sure, because of the restrictions that we had on the site, it's only approximately 4 acres. We wanted to make sure that everything that we wanted from those programming meetings was going to be able to fit on that site. So we met March 21st of 24, April 19th of 24, May 2nd, May 9th of 24, and May 23rd of 24. And then we had Leggett come back on the May 28th meeting to present that test bid for Board of Education.
Okay, so that was all last year. So as you can see, we really were talking about this project all the time. Moving into this school year, we embarked on the stakeholder input phase, and that's really where we are at right now. So October 16th was the first planning meeting to sort out and organize all of these input dates and timelines. So of course, district team met with Leggett to plan those out, and that was last month, October 6th. And then we laid out the schedule for our stakeholder engagement events. We had our first stakeholder event on October 23rd, where a core group of teachers from both Lincoln Irving and Willard met, as well as a cross section of administrators and other stakeholders to kind of start collecting that input process. So they met to kind of talk about the goals for the project. I did a gallery walk to really get a feel of some of those other completed construction projects around the state, to see what is standing out to people and what catches their eye just on a very basic level. Talked about visioning, we reviewed the test fit and started talking schematic design. Then on November 6th, we had our next stakeholder group, again, a cross section of staff and community members from Moline and Cole Valley. And we had an opportunity to kind of do that same thing, ask some questions, gather some input, talk about hopes and goals. They too did a gallery walk to kind of tag with stickers the pieces that they liked on projects that were completed, what stood out to them, visioning, test fit, and schematic design. Today, a stakeholder letter went out to Lincoln Irving and Willard families, and we wanted to make sure, because that letter had a lot of detailed timeline information, it was critically important that that information would be able to be understood by families at both schools, represent multiple different languages. So that letter in particular, we sent out for professional translation to make sure that that timeline letter not only went out in English, but also Spanish, French, Swahili, Dari, and Pashto, and that went out today. Again, because that letter detailed specific timelines about Willard and Lincoln Irving, we really wanted to make sure that those families were getting that information. And we plan to do that more periodically now as we're getting close to breaking ground on that construction project. We know that those schools have a wide variety of home languages, and that information is essential. So that letter just went out today. We have a survey then that will go out later in the week. We know that there are a lot of different ways to gather input, not just face-to-face meetings and staff meetings, but also surveys. So that will go out as well later this week. Then we have a parent and community engagement night scheduled at both schools. So December 10th will be an evening for really anyone to attend, but we will hold it at Lincoln Irving. So family members, parents, neighbors, community members, anybody interested is welcome to attend. And as we get closer, we'll be pushing that information out more again in multiple languages. And then we will repeat the same meeting at Willard. Again, people are comfortable going to their own school and what they know. So we want to make sure that we're capturing people in locations where they're comfortable. And again, we'll sort of replicate the stakeholder input process multiple different times so that we have a chance to hear from as many different people as possible. So those are kind of the major pieces that we are slated to do yet before winter break. Then Leggett has the wonderful task of putting all of that together and collating that in a way that's discernible Board of Education. And in January, at the January 13th, they plan to present the initial schematic design to the Board of Education. And that will continue on, and they will come back to you again in May 27th, to present sort of the schematic design development. And I made a little note there that Vince and I and the team really talked about the importance of having frequent and open communication with the families throughout this process. So we will be planning either probably quarterly opportunities for families, whether it be in person or Zoom, just to make sure that families have every opportunity to get information that they need and the information that they feel was important. That will sort of carry us through this school year, and then I'll turn it over to Vince for next school year.
Yes, so, as we get through that design development, we'll start preparing our construction documents. Then on the October 13th board meeting, Leggett will be presenting. And then October 20th through November 20th, that'll be our bid phase. So as we get all those construction documents completed, we have our CM on board and all of that. Going through that bidding for about a month, get all of our finalized numbers. And then November 21st to December 3rd, we'll review all of those bids. And then come back to the board and present that to you on the December meeting. And then March of 26th, construction. Kind of forward, we're to March.
Point of clarification with that March of 2026, we intend to fully complete the school year there with it as normal at Lincoln Irving. That process will really begin more staging, perhaps getting ahead work on the parking lot that is slated to go where the vacant lot is now. So students at Lincoln Irving will be able to that full school year at their home site. And then that takes us into 2026, 2027. It sounds far away, but it is not. It's going really fast. We kind of made the determination that we want our Willard students and our Willard families to be able to ride out that school sort of in the sunset when Willard retires. You know, when schools close, it has a lot of different feelings. But we really took that approach, and I have to give credit to Aaron, who's not here, to receive the compliment. We really thought of this idea of retire, and it's fully fitting. Schools are built to last around 100 years. I believe Willard right now is in year 126. So we look at its service fondly to the community, knowing that it gave 126 years of great educational opportunity as a neighborhood to so many families. At this point, we know Willard, while we love it dearly, it is not ADA accessible. If you're a parent or a student with a disability, cannot navigate that school. And quite frankly, it's just unacceptable in 2024. We know that we were not able to air condition Willard, and it just has so many beautiful, wonderful, and sort of sentimental things to love about it, but sort of modern day 21st century learning, and even just basic things like ADA accessibility. We're never going to get in that building, so the time has come to retire. We want the staff and families to be able to complete their year with Willard in the 26-27 year. We had been sort of tossing around multiple different options about how to move kids and meld kids together. But the staff spoke and the families spoke, and really they wanted to stay at Willard until retired. So definitely wanted to honor that voice and respectable opinion for sure. So that also marks then the year of full construction for Lincoln Irving, and we will be tasked with relocating those students for that year of construction. At this time, our district property of Coolidge is the best option that we have, and we will have the next year and a half to get that building ready students again. So we will continue to make sure that we're communicating frequently with those families and leading up to that change. And then that takes us to the 27-28 school year, where the new school is projected to open for all three. So that is our timeline update. Wanted you to have something that you could take with you so that you could revisit. It's a lot of information, knowing that we're going to continue to communicate every step of the way. Any questions for us?
But the one was down the road, the way it's constructed, but should not be great. So I have to ask. I don't believe it's ever happened, but would it be a situation where the retire will get points up and those students as well? That the conversation be there.
Let me look at Vince, see if he's got a good answer.
So I think we would keep them at work for semester and probably start everybody fresh on that second semester. But, you know, plans can change.
Yeah,
And I think just, we can, it's gonna be a rolling change there as we head into the project. My hope is that we can get done in 15 months. Not have to worry about this.
I think, right, I'm excited about the whole thing. And for retired employees.
Yeah, I think, you know, kudos to, Danny Dermott and Keith Parsons for getting this ball rolling early, and making sure that we have plenty of time for all this planning. I think we're a little bit ahead of the game right now. Looking, put out the RFQ for the CM on this, so getting them involved early. Can also help making sure that all of our budgeting is in line with what they're seeing in the market. Getting all of their feedback from our, design development, conceptual design and all of that, so. I think we're in good shape right now, and we'll keep you updated as we go along.
Have we started working with the city or elsewhere on how we can safely and efficiently get this transported back and forth?
It's on the list.
Okay.
So we know that we will have, kids that are able to get there and kids that are not. So we do have that on our list, to, in planning, what that process would look like. And that was part of the reason, not only we know Willard families and kids want to stay at Willard, but that just is, an entire group of kids that, don't have to have that interruption for the actual move. So we know that that's going to be something that we're going
College was retired from use for students. Not too long ago. What kind of preparation? Tired it because it's real bad shape. Kind of preparation.
So we did walk that with, the ROV and Leggett, and they're just going through and marking up anything that they feel to address. We haven't gotten that report back, that was exactly what we need to do. But they'll put that all together and budget for it, and make sure that that gets done.
That was logistics. And stuff.
We have explored other things, but nothing has been found. So, but as of right now.
We also received word that the Regional Office of Education is finalized the lease in a new site. And we knew that that was something that they had been looking at and exploring different options. So they should be moved out of Coolidge. I think Ms. Miro said maybe March at the latest. So I would anticipate anytime after the break for the ROE will be moving out to their new site. And that will allow Keith and his team and facilities to get in there and start that process of getting that building ready for students again. We'll probably need every day of that year and a half.
It'll be essential for them to be out there, give us that space. And that floor that they've been occupying is in actually pretty good shape. There's not too much that we have to do.
Yes, I will. Thank you.
Thank you.
Take 5 minutes. I call to order the regular meeting of the Board of Education School District at 7:03 p.m. on Tuesday, November 12th, 2023, 2024, at Jefferson Early Childhood Center.
Mark Jackson here, Pat Smith here, Mona Nixon, Jason Farrell here, Lindsay Hines.
Yeah.
Andrew Ware. Here, Baldwin Smith. Aaron Abigail Greenlee, Gilda Martin here.
Pledge allegiance to the flag, the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Regular meeting of the Board of Education. Favor? Oops. Communication with public comment and participation. Consent agenda. Recommend so that the Board of Education keep the items contained in the consent agenda as presented. Discussion. Roll call.
Chad Smith. Aye. Mona Dixon. Jason Farrell. Aye. Lindsay Hines.
Aye.
Aaron Walter Smith. Audrey Addison.
Aye.
Andrew Ware.
Aye. All right. Reports, requests, no discussion.
First and foremost, I wanted to recognize the service of the Board of Education and especially our student Board of Education members. As you know, November in Illinois Board of Education Appreciation Month. They really deserve like all the months because you commit to the service of the district and the community all year round. We are very, very grateful for your volunteering. I feel like you are able to do great things because of your commitment to the students and community. So thank you very much from all of us. I also want to give a special shout out to our veterans. Yesterday, as we know, was Veterans Day, and we have 12 veterans on staff that we're very proud of. They served their country and now turn around and are serving our community, and we're so glad that they chose Lane. We have 1 administrator, 2 teachers, 3 paraprofessionals, 3 maintenance workers, 1 ed tech worker, 1 athletic coach, and 1 substitute teacher. So they are sprinkled around our entire learning community. We're so grateful for their continued service. I wanted to talk a little bit about attendance. I wanted to give a shout out to Erin Turstrip and Trista Sanders, who are leading the Bay School attendance for improving our student absenteeism rate. As you know, we are not able to fully control every day when students come to school, but we know that we can do everything that we can. So they have started a committee. They're getting ready to put together a collaboratively developed campaign. We have a letter go out to families. So this is something that we want to do everything that we can to impress upon families and our community and our students of the importance of regular attendance. We know that that is the one metric nationally that has not fully recovered from the pandemic. And we have a lot of work to do in Moline, but it certainly will take a village. We have the joint annual conference coming up very soon. You should have a packet of information at your station. Please remember that if you're attending, that you'll need your badge and all of those pieces. Let us know if you have any questions regarding the conference. Otherwise, I believe you should be able to get in to the app and select your sessions and all of the things. If your schedule of activities, and we have a different hotel this year, so I provided that information to you as well. So if you have any questions leading up to the conference, please do not hesitate to reach out. Annual report card, as we know, the report card data has been live for a week and a half or so now. In the process of doing the comparative analysis part of the preparation, we know that we don't have access to other districts' data until it goes fully public on November first. So we're looking at not only the 10 districts that we have chosen to be compared to in terms of all of the report card metrics, but also looking specifically at our looted districts. So we have an idea, not just how we're doing, but how we're doing comparatively across the state of Illinois. But we'll have that information wrapped up and be able to present all of that at the December board meeting. I did have just a little sneak peek of some of the metrics. I'm just excited to see us moving forward in a positive direction. And the majority of our metrics are positive. So we're seeing growth in academic achievement, we're seeing growth in participation, seeing growth in students. Our enrollment is increasing, 62 students last year. Keep in mind the report card data is from last school year. So it reports all of the 2023-24 school year. It just is certainly in lag time performance, which is out to the community. I'm particularly excited about the massive gains that we have made in the Illinois 5 Essentials. That's kudos to our teachers, our students, our administrators, and our community and our parents really for stepping up to say, yes, we'll give you input so that we know how to design our goals. So just had a little sneak peek of positive things to share there. Last two items, wanted to kind of take a quick check on attendance. We have a couple of extra activities this month, and so I apologize for the extra requests. As you know, we do have the need for a special board meeting. And because of the timing of the work that needs to happen in that special board meeting, really just have Monday, November 18th, Tuesday, November 19th. And so far for the 18th, I didn't put that date out. We don't have one. I believe I have two and a baby. And so
I can be there if you don't have one.
okay. So maybe I could just touch base with each of you for both the 18th and the 19th, and then we can figure out what would be the meeting where we could get at least four. Lindsay, do you know your availability for the 18th and the 19th? Yeah. Okay. The 18th.
Available 19th, 18th.
Okay. So I will double check with Erin. I think she was good on the 19th. And I didn't have a chance yet to ask Ramona about the 19th. I don't think, or she hasn't had a chance to respond. So I think Erin said yes for the 19th. We have a forum on the 19th with Lindsay, Chad, Audrey, and Erin. So let me double check with Ramona and get back with you. Okay, great. So it looks like then the 19th, we would definitely have a forum. Erin, is that good? Yep. Okay. Thank you for that. And then also tomorrow, is our community partner Thanksgiving. We did post it as a board event. Really, just even if a couple would be present. Last year we had a class of 30 community partners, and this year we have right around 20. So we're hoping at the new district office to create a sort of honorees and little by little start building out all of our community partners that we've been able to recognize. So if I could just get a check of who plans to attend tomorrow, that would be. Okay. 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 I think that's perfect. I think Ramona said she might be able to be there as well. So that's perfect. Thank you so much. The social is basically like 4 to 4:30 in the EPAC lobby. I will resend the info out to you. And then the little presentation starts out. I'll provide any more questions. Have this nice opportunity to recognize our Thank you for all the extra requests. I know it is a very difficult. That is all I have.
Next. Presentation.
Looks like you've got, oh, what happened to your, chairman's one? It left.
I see where that USB cord.
Hope they came to hear you present. Maybe they just came to the brownies.
Show up. Okay, and then you can just arrow.
So thank you all for being here. I'm super excited. As you guys maybe are aware, Jared Joyce is an upcoming event that's going to be occurring this December. And I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of tradition and history on what it actually is, because it is our 75th anniversary. So if you guys aren't aware of what Share Joys is, it's a program in which we are able to raise money to clothe children within the Moline-Coal Valley School District. It's primarily a student-led event. It's three main organizations at the high school that are able to drive this initiative: our NHS, or National Honor Society chapter, our Linotype, our school newspaper, and our student congress. So our National Honor Society chapter is responsible for taking care of the bigger things, right? Our donating contest, our raffle, decorating the school, and actually making the theme come alive. Our newspaper is responsible for selecting the kids that are going to receive the donations and actually giving them the clothes. And our student congress helps with a little bit of everything, facilitating our theme, the theme that we select each year, while publicizing what Share Joys is actually going to be to the community. And of course, lastly, the local businesses in our community, right? We couldn't do it without them. Donut Delight, for example, donates donuts to us, over 100 donuts to us each year. And we have various food businesses that give gift cards, vouchers, certificates that we're able to put into the raffle and help actually fundraise some money. So a little bit about the history of Share Joys. Share Joys was started in 1949 when Betty Hassan, a Linotype editor, decided that there should be a contest in where people from the school and people from the community give toys. And those toys are entries into this contest, and whatever toys are donated are going to be then given to kids. So after a couple of years, they started getting a lot of toys in, and a lot of clubs and organizations picked up interest. So they started to gain an increase in funding. And that's when they decided to actually name this, or create a campaign naming it Share Joys Buys Toys. And the emphasis was to prepare students to be sharers and to learn to care, which we still carry on today. So the Share Joys that you guys are most probably familiar with began in 1965. So after about 20-ish years of, it's a pretty long time ago. But after 20-ish years of having that toy campaign, the newspaper staff decided that the money that they're getting, the money that was being raised, could be better used and allocated towards resources that better benefit the kids in the district. So that's when they decided to drop the Buys Toys from the Share Joys name and just keep a Share Joys, and keep it restricted to buying clothes for the kids within our district. So they created this new holiday, Share Joys. It was a 2-week-long holiday. It was later reduced to 1, and now it's a 2-day event that occurs in December. So some of the activities they had during the early years was a goldfish competition. So they would have people actually eat goldfish, and whoever ate the most goldfish would get a prize. I'm not sure exactly what the prize is. And they also sold pets, of course, with curated guidelines, but that was one of the activities that they had towards the beginning of Share Joys. And at that time, for about 1965 to about 2000-ish, most of the money came from clubs and activities, such as the goldfish competition and the selling of pets. which were then used to create these assemblies, which were basically public events where the children who were actually receiving the clothing would be put on display. And then the people from the community could actually watch them, get the clothing. Initially, they thought this would be good to kind of, show the impact of, what the fundraising and the clothing that they're getting. But they later, I'm pretty sure, Mr. Youngdahl, newspaper advisor, decided that they should put it to a close. So they put it to a close in I think like 1980 or something around that time. So Share Joys today. So this year Share Joys is going to be held on December 12th and 13th. Some of the events include a donating contest, cookie eating contest with the principals, raffle, elves, treats and concessions. We're gonna have pizza, pop, cotton candy, stations with students serving popcorn. And lastly, Share Joys themed shirts. So here's some images from previous years. So some of these are just teams, donating teams. You can see in the bottom right, there's a soda station. The top right, that's actually a concession. So we're able to sell Happy Joe's Pizza to the students. And then in the middle there, that image is the image of an improv room from 2 years ago. Here's some more images. So if you take a look, top left, we have another donating team. Bottom left, former student Logan Shelker actually decided that he knew how to grill, so he decided that he was gonna actually grill for Share Joys last year. So we had that, which was something new. You can see we have another image of concessions, students baking, a cotton candy station, and then a wonderful Santa Claus. So a little bit about the impact of Share Joys. Since 1949, we've raised a little over $1.5 million. We're able to clothe 300 to 385 children annually. And it brings our community together to spread cheer for 75 years. Thank you. I can answer if anybody has any questions about Share Joys.
You could like promote this in the weeks leading up to it in the school and the flyers and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, because my son's a freshman and I've been trying to hype this up to him.
Okay.
And it's not receptive at all. So he's not really understanding what's going on, and I'm like, oh, it's so much fun, like, I don't love it, and not landing with him. So anyway, I just thought maybe like if you could have freshmen and that like try to let the freshmen know what to expect, like maybe they get more out of it. Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just,
Yeah. So like a lot of the, like our NHS, for example, is limited to juniors and seniors. So
Right.
a lot of the times, like I remember when I was a freshman too, I didn't really know what Share Joys was. I was just
Right.
participating in the activities. But when he gets to that grade level, he's definitely going to be able to actually like
Yeah,
take a role in it.
yeah. Well, I was just wondering, like, even for the, the 2 days, not necessarily even the planning, but just maybe have, I don't know, if you get like freshmen that you could, key freshmen, and just say, hey, you can help spread the word, this is what we're gonna do. And
I'm going to talk to the teacher about that. I think we can get them to do something, at least get involved. Probably planning or at least even just running the stations during 2 days.
Yeah.
So, thank you.
My senior.
you talk to my freshman, and maybe we'll do a better job of recording.
Say the freshman teachers do a really good job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Need
our
a-
announcements that I changed, like I said, my freshman year. I was new to the district, school. I'm like, oh, you don't know, like, this is fun, so the content on how they.
Yeah.
Sell, they.
Yeah.
Very involved.
Yes.
So, I have a different student organization to share about. The student hunger drive was completed last Thursday. I have an active member in Interact Club, who was on the student hunger drive outline. And overall, raised 19,000 or collected 19,000 pounds of food. Translates to 35,870 meals, which is quite a bit of food. I think that's something that's really special to me.
district, I had volunteered with Riverbend. And so food insecurity is always been something I'm really passionate about, and I didn't realize actually when I joined the Board of Education and at one of the presentations last year, I didn't realize how many families in our district income or food insecure and might not have access to their meals the way that I do and my family does. That's something I'm very passionate about helping. Between all the schools that participate in the student food drive, we raised $7,180. Yeah, I think I can't remember exactly, but I think the statistic they gave at the closing ceremony was for all the insecure people that they Riverbend serves in their district. That was enough to provide 2 or 3 meals every single food.
Chair brings down.
Chairperson, do we need to discuss it all?
I suppose, yeah.
Go
ahead.
And you're raising $500.
Wait, you're not gonna be on the team?
Sure.
Okay.
I think the one that last time. A lot of people.
So much. All right, next up is board member report. CUSD.
Yeah, that's me. That's So I just want to go over topics for everybody. I just wanted to kind of touch base and sort of for approval or pass delegate assembly. Wise, one of the things is a constitutional amendment which basically just changes the language from Robert's Rules of Order's most recent edition. In their parliamentary practice to get a little more detail as to how those will be implemented. To me, seems like it's important. A better language to make things run smoother. It's probably a good idea. And if anybody's opposed to anything, I'm trying to go easy for these guys, but I comment. One of the ones that they said to adopt is dual language, which basically allows people that are single by literacy to not have to take dual language courses in high school, which is something that's going to be coming out soon, and it gives them options to take AP studies in other languages. Again, flexibility and meeting requirements, I think, is a pretty good thing. So if you adopt, I'm in favor of that. Authorized charter school funding is the next one they say to adopt. This is basically using evidence-based funding for charter schools, the same way they do every other school. The way that they do it right now, it's public charter schools. Yeah, and the way they do it now is different. This will make all the averages a little bit more equitable for funding across any school, any public school in the state. So we do adopt tip accountability. The next one, basically just updating the position statement, saying that we want to make sure that things are transparent with the tip. Tip areas. They talk here about school district numerous challenges, waste of tips, including the overuse of tips, length of tips, fiscal impact of tax on taxpayers in the school district community. Taxing bodies such as school districts should have a meaningful voice in the approval to perform as needed. Yeah, you adopt for that. Centralized state agency for EHRs, which employment history review. They determine the requirement of each school district to fulfill the requirements of the EHRs and burdens of individual school districts, creating a centralized entity. Responsible for EHRs and streamline the process and allow for more accurate, consistent. Yeah, healthcare coverage. Basically allowing the Department of Central Management Services from the state to go out and seek out healthcare plans, and then any district that so chooses would be able to utilize those plans and potentially bring costs down depending on district size. And one doesn't mean that you have to go with those healthcare plans. It gives you the option. Utilize what plans that the CMS go out and seek. Then polling place. So this one kind of goes by election day, basically saying that if the districts are not used as polling places, they do not have to have election day as a holiday. It kind of just leaves it more to local control, the option if they don't use the schools for polling places. I don't guess it'd be a holiday, but that's where they say to adopt basically local control over everything. Then they've got a few, they say you have that one is for cell phone use. They want to say that it should have their phone put away in a specialized place, have it at any time during the day. Or something could potentially cause issues. Cell phone use is kind of an issue. Last week, making students put them in a place and taking them out of their control. So they recommend to adopt that. They've got one that's the Office of Inspector General. It's basically for oversight and allowing very long one. If you guys have read through it, basically, there's already legal ways to go about doing this to make changes with the being tough and not necessary to have issues. HRs are from their employees. This is basically saying these people want to have so they can do background checks on every employee and in terms of they don't got that. So the next one is about requiring anybody running for school board to then to a background check with the ROE prior to submitting their petitions. Just one of the things where the less oversight, the less red tape required. So there's a few things I can bring forward, but if anybody's got any opposition to once they say to adopt or any we should maybe put this one on the floor, please let me know. Otherwise, we go to to put there.
Jeff, the public charter one, is that something brand new or is it change in language?
These are just
Yeah, it's just a position to recommend.
All these meetings, ISP lobbying the legislature on behalf of these positions.
Yes.
Public charters.
yes, maybe check.